Free agency has kicked off, sort of. You can't really make official signings until Wednesday, but everyone's agreeing to deals. That's how it happens. You should expect 99.9% of these deals get done. A reminder that Larry Ogunjobi agreed with the Bears on a big deal last year, ended up needing to back out after a failed physical. But this is Bengals on the Brain. I'm Joe Goodberry, part of the Cincinnati Bengals Talk YouTube network. We do have things to talk about already as the legal tampering period is open. We have an expected move in Jessie Bates going to the Atlanta Falcons. We'll start there. It was, if you were a betting favorite for which team would land Jessie Bates, it was the Atlanta Falcons, I would say. And a 4-year, $60 million deal, $36 million guaranteed. That is all what it was projected to be. It was a very poorly kept secret, and he got the bag. Jessie Bates bet on himself, and he was correct. By taking that franchise tag last year, which was $13 million guaranteed roughly, and then $36 million guaranteed this year. We're looking at $49 million guaranteed for him. So good on him. He was never going to get close to that. If you remember the reports from the Bengals, it was $16 or $18 million guaranteed, which is half of what he got from the Falcons, which was the crux of the situation. The $16 million per year is not an issue. I even think the Bengals probably would have gotten very close to that in a lot of ways. If they were giving $16 million guaranteed, that's pretty much first year for them. I wouldn't be surprised if they offered $16 million per year, but it's the guaranteed money. It's king in the NFL and free agency, especially for wave one guys, first tier free agents. They need to get that money. But that was expected. They drafted Dax Hill for that position, for that spot, for that contingency plan. The unexpected, and I'd say both of these next two guys are unexpected. Most people believe Germaine Pratt was on his way out, that he was unhappy with some of the playing time, with some of his opportunities, because the Bengals would take him off in a lot of obvious third down situations and replace him with a safety and let the safety cover tight ends one-on-one, Trey Flowers, Dax Hill, things like that. Maybe we won't see that again after Vonn Bell now has signed with the Panthers and Germaine Pratt is back with the Bengals. And we'll break down both of those real quick. So Germaine Pratt's deal is a 3-year, $20.25 million deal. He gets $7 million guaranteed. That's important to remember. Like I talked about with Jessie Bates. If the Bengals offered 16 or so and he ended up getting 36, big gap. Germaine Pratt given $7 million guaranteed. His deal, his cap breakdown basically comes down to $5.4 million this year. Very reasonable for a linebacker. 6.9 next year, and then the final year of his deal will be $7.9 million guaranteed. I'm sorry, $7.9 million against the cap. Remember, he only got $7 million guaranteed. Got distracted by the cat over there. Don't mess with that. Anyways, he's back. He's in the fold. I'm happy with that. I think it's a great pickup. I think Germaine Pratt has been a good player for them, an ascending player for them. A lot of impact plays in the playoff games and late situations, high leverage type games. Think of the Chiefs game this year where he rips the ball out from Travis Kelce and recovers it. They don't win the game without it, I don't think. And so Germaine Pratt, I'm happy that he's back on the team. I'm happy that it's a reasonable deal, that they're not paying too much for a linebacker. I mean, a $5 million cap hit this year is probably as palpable as you can expect for signing a guy at linebacker right now. But the linebackers aren't getting paid a lot. I wonder if they approach Logan Wilson while the market's cool on these linebackers. Maybe they can save a little bit. That would probably be the smart thing to do. One last point on Germaine Pratt. Will his playing time increase? Will he be out there more on third downs? If the Bengals don't have the safety depth they had in previous years, maybe. Maybe something was talked about and agreed upon, and now he'll be out there even more to create more value for this contract. But that wipes linebacker off the board. And some have even wondered, did the Bengals offer the same contract to Vonn Bell? And he didn't take it, because Vonn Bell ended up signing with the Carolina Panthers on a 3-year, $22.5 million deal with $13 million guaranteed. So if they offered the $7 million guaranteed, and he got 13 out there, that's why he took the other offer from the Panthers. Vonn Bell will be missed. A lot of clutch plays as well. Captain of the defense. Just all-around good dude from all accounts, and someone who kept this defense on time. The communication between he and Jessie Bates, the amount they covered up on the backside, the amount they could employ the vision of Lou Anarumo and mixing things up pre and post snap and disguising things, it's going to take a hit. You're losing your 2 veteran safeties. That's going to be a challenge and a hurdle, going forward. And I think the Bengals are equipped to handle it, but at the same time, it's scary. And I mean they're equipped because they drafted 2 safeties last year. And we'll talk about those guys in a second. But they drafted 2 of them. They've been in the building. We didn't get to see Tycen Anderson play. But I do want to point out Vonn Bell's contract numbers because I think that's important. If you remember when he signed with the Bengals when he was 25 years old, it was a 3-year, $18 million deal. He got $3 million guaranteed. That is it. One of the best value free agents they have ever signed. So he's getting $13 million guaranteed now. Only $4 million more total over a 3-year contract. That's just basically inflation. Bell's 2023 cap hit, the way the Panthers structured it, is $3.1 million. He has a $3 million cap hit this year for the Panthers. I do think the Bengals could have matched this offer. And in the entirety, $13 million guaranteed is not a lot. And especially the $3 million cap hit, you could have fit Germaine Pratt and Vonn Bell this year at $8.5 million. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow if they can't replace Bell's production, if they can't bring in another safety. The 2024 cap hit is nearly $11 million, just a shade under $11 million. And that's when it gets expensive. But the year 3 is 8.5, which I think is reasonable for Vonn Bell. A little bit higher than Germaine Pratt's. So it's the year 2, the 2024 number that gets a little too high, and that's where the Bengals are going to start paying other people. I still think it's the $13 million guaranteed. So what do the Bengals do from here? I've got a few options. We got a couple guys that I think they could look at in free agency if they're still there, pending when this is finally playing, because this news could be an hour old and I'm late on it, and that's how it goes sometimes. But also they have a guy on the roster that they may be higher on than all of us are. So let's take a look. Good old Germaine Pratt here, 57. Remember, he's a former safety at NC State and then moved to linebacker very quickly. But everyone always thought he'd end up being a very good cover guy. But he was always good against the run. And he was always really good at reading the read option and defending the run and being an athlete, but also a strong tackler, like super vice grip type tackling where his grip strength's got to be super strong. But he continued to get better every single year in the NFL. I even think he's gotten better in coverage. He was PFF's like 3rd highest graded linebacker in coverage this year, which is a little bit misleading because the Bengals don't use him in scenarios where he's going to cover tight ends and be exposed a little bit. But I think he's good in man coverage. There's plays in the past where he's running with receivers and fast tight ends and carrying them up the seam or down the field. But I still think he's a tremendous run defender, diagnosing very quickly, and because he has that speed and burst, that he can do something with it. You know, if you diagnose but he can't get there and can't beat the gaps and beat the holes in the offensive line, then it's not worth much. But Germaine Pratt can do that. And I think he had a couple of standout games where he definitely did it. Against the Browns, against the Ravens, against the Steelers. He's really been good in the division. Really good against the Steelers lately. Last year, he was just a menace the entire game. And when I look at him and I think, okay, is he who he was this past year, where his grades were tremendous if you use PFF? And I just think he was overall really, really good. Or is he more of an inconsistent guy? Or is he just ascending and turning into the player? I mean, if you remember this play, he's carrying Mark Andrews up the seam, or he fits into the hook underneath and goes up and makes a one-handed almost interception. Like, that's high-end coverage plays. He's had a bunch of high-end coverage plays. Can we see more of them? Will we get more of them? And I think if we do, it's going to make his contract even more of a value, even better, as we'll end it here with an interception as he flips his hips, carries the next guy. As I said, at the moment of recording this, these guys are still available. Now, if they're not, then it is what it is. Just disregard and move on to the next player. But how I would have them ranked of the available free agent safeties. And I actually think these 4 guys could potentially be better than Vonn Bell. On the field, maybe. There's a potential for it because I think we underrate what Bell did off the field and in the locker room and in the film room and the meetings, things like that. It's hard for me to speak on that with these guys, but remember, Vonn Bell was a tier 3 free agent that was still there 7 days into free agency with these qualities. These qualities were known at the time, and it still didn't get him a big deal. And I don't think he got a big deal now. So these are the guys that I think the Bengals should target and may be interested in. I wonder if any of them will be out of the price range. First, from the Kansas City Chiefs, Juan Thornhill. Thornhill's a free safety that has played 4,200 snaps in his career with the Chiefs. Has played some strong, has mixed it, they do mix it and match in the back half there. He's an athletic upgrade. He's a coverage upgrade. He's a former top 10 player I had as a draft prospect. The next guy is Julian Love from the Giants, was a corner at Notre Dame, has moved to free safety, and has slowly progressed into being a very good player. He's the youngest of this group. He's the 25-year-old, which means I think he could attract the most money or the most attention, at the very least, the most of a bidding war. But again, he's an athletic upgrade. He's a coverage upgrade from Vonn Bell. The next guy on the list is John Johnson, who was cut from the Browns, so this would not hurt your comp pick formula. You could still recoup a 5th rounder or so from Vonn Bell. John Johnson was a standout young first contract guy with the Rams originally. He was a free safety. He was a strong safety with the Rams. The Browns signed him to a big deal and turned him into a free safety. Of course it didn't work. It's the Cleveland Browns. They had to fit it in there and had to make him a free safety. He's not that. He's cut 2 years later. The Bengals targeted him and tore him to pieces in coverage. He's a strong safety through and through. He's a guy that would replace Vonn Bell and make a lot of sense and not hurt the comp pick formula as well. I think that could be a definite target. He's still got a lot left in him. He's still 28 years old. The last guy here, he's got a reputation, can be a bit of a knucklehead and a pot stirrer, but Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, also C.J. Gardner-Johnson, however, he went by both names, but he ended up going in the 4th round, coming out of his draft class was the 4th rounder because of some of the attitude and issues and things like that. He was a tremendous player. And then he plays well for the Saints as a rookie, and they trade him for a 7th rounder, I think it was, to the Philadelphia Eagles, and they make their run to the Super Bowl. And now he's a free agent. Will that hurt his value? That some teams, it's hurt his value twice already, in the draft and then at the trade process. Will that hurt his value in free agency? Could you get a deal here? He's probably the best player of these 4, but I wonder about the extra stuff. And does that hurt him? And where does that place him in this order? And then I got a few other guys here that I think could be options in 3 days or so, and that's going to the next list. And maybe Taylor Rapp goes earlier than that, but I'm going to run him off real fast. I think Taylor Rapp could be the next guy or with that first group if he gets that contract. But Taylor Rapp, Donovan Wilson, Deshaun Elliott, Nasir Adderley, and Terrell Edmonds. All guys have played, all guys have started, all guys have had some level of production in the NFL. Either they've had injuries or they've had inconsistencies or they're, not thought of as tier 1 or tier 2 type guys, which we have tier 2 for most of the top guys I just listed. These guys are all tier 3 and some tier 4 type safeties, but the Bengals need to get a veteran in there, and they need to get somebody to match with Dax Hill that can help communicate and get things all lined up. And potentially with Tycen Anderson, who I think we have overlooked and maybe have forgotten about. We didn't get to see him all year. Tycen Anderson out of Toledo would have been the fastest safety in this year's combine. Good athlete, decent production. From what I understand, the Bengals had a 3rd round grade on him when they drafted him. So if you were to place him in this draft class, they may even have him higher. It's not a strong safety class. We've forgotten about him because he hasn't played. But I think we should go back. Let's rewind it a little bit for our last segment here and go look at what we were saying after the preseason, after his, what I think was a very underrated preseason, very good preseason. I actually thought, if you listen, and we're going to play it in a second here, but pay attention to what I say when I'm like, maybe he replaces Bell in a year. It stinks that we didn't get to see him. But let's wind it back and see how we felt in the summer of 2022. Tycen Anderson
rookie out of Toledo. Starting off on the left side here, I'll highlight him for you guys. There we go. Starting with the Rams game, going out of order a little bit here, but it's because he caught my eye the most, I think, in this game overall. But I just like the way his awareness started to come up. A lot of these wide receivers coming, clearing him out in that first game, and I think second game he did better, third game even better. Here he is on the right side. And just being able to be aware, like on this play here, he's like, all right, I got to get to the outside. I can't let the quarterback get around me and run free. So he takes outside. It looks like a missed tackle, right? But really, he forced that quarterback back inside, changed directions pretty quickly, and got the quarterback down after, I think it was like a 2-yard gain. So that's a very good play and good heady play to play his position. Again, here, he's going to come down off the play action, bootleg, not give up any ground to that receiver, not going to let that receiver get open either. So as the quarterback rolls out and says, okay, can I get that little leak? It's not there. Okay, let me run for it. Well, Anderson's really manhandling that guy on the sideline, not going to let you block him and force the quarterback to step out of bounds, which, again, very heady play. I think overall this preseason he's played very, very well. We're going to go back to the Giants game now. He's on the left side here in a cover 2 situation, running the ball. Going to come in, dip under that receiver, very similar to that Rams play we just saw. Again, you got to see that guy coming. You got to have that awareness, those peripherals, if you will. Man coverage with a tight end here. Locked him up completely. And as the quarterback comes out to the outside to break the pocket to look for someone to throw, no one's open, right? And he's right on him. Very similar play to the one I just showed again. So that's good coverage. It's heady play. You know, he's showing that physical ability. Here he's in press against the tight end again. Bam. Good, nice stab. And then just in that guy's hip pocket. And then he sees here, right, you got help inside. You better take the outside lane and force that guy either back to that linebacker or to run him out of bounds. And yeah, it's a first down. But, like, he limits it from being much more than that. And that's what you're looking for a safety. I think this actually was what went down as a missed tackle, but getting a hand on a guy and shooting the gap like that, I'm down with it. Played a lot of free safety. Split a lot of his preseason snaps at free safety. This is that play here where he really gets maybe 2 plays where he got a chance to cover it deep, and he does a good job there. Out and up, and he did a real good job. You got Anderson in man coverage here. Slot receiver just going to hook up. It might even be a running back. I don't even know what position. It doesn't matter. But he clicks, closes very quickly. Very strong tackle. He eventually gets help from Johnston. Why am I showing you a kickoff? Because he's going to play a lot of special teams. And this is the first game there. Swim move, nice in between 2 other guys. Goes down as a missed tackle, but you know what? You need those guys that'll penetrate and force the guy to stop and redirect, and he did that exactly. And this is the first game again, the Cardinals game. I'm just showing this one because he lays a nice big hit on this guy. And I appreciate that because he didn't get too many chances to lay a hit, lay a shot. He was a sure tackler in most of preseason here. I like this because you see the communication, right? The guy goes in motion, him and Dax talk about it. They switch up the defense. He's pointing to a linebacker, take the crosser. They got a little cheese in front of you. He doesn't take the cheese, jumps on the drag, changes direction, make sure the quarterback doesn't go any further than that. It's a very heady play. I probably should have slowed that down a little bit more and went over it longer, but this is already a 5-minute video on Tycen Anderson. Nice jam here. Bootleg, guy just running an out route. No one open for him. Anderson, again, really good in coverage on that situation. This is one of my favorite plays, easily. All right, so we got a play action to the left. And we saw some guys leak earlier, right? So Anderson comes down. Is there a leak? Nope, no leak. It's got to be a deep drag or deep crosser behind me. Quickly flips his hips, runs with the guy, does a tremendous job. Heady, athletic. You know, this underrated thing, too, I like with defenders. When they don't like to get touched after the play, this may seem silly to you, but, like, I told this to my son all the time as he's playing, you know, young football right now. Stop letting guys get their hands on you. I don't care if it's a coach or a player. Just don't let anybody touch you, even if the play is done. These plays are done. Like, they got running backs on the ground, and here's Tycen Anderson, like, I'll practice a little swim move here, and I'll just keep going and be a little pest. I like that. I like the way he plays. I like the way he finishes this. 2 guys come up, they're just going to stand in front of him like, oh, the play's over, right? No, I'm going to run into you. And overall, just make your day a little bit harder. Tycen Anderson, I think the Bengals got one here.
Man, it's funny because when Dax Hill was drafted, a lot of people were like, is he the Jessie Bates replacement? I can see it. Yep. The way they played him so much at free safety, even though he didn't do it a lot in college, definitely already through 2 games shows the traits that he can be that kind of guy. And then people instantly start questioning, is Tycen Anderson the Vonn Bell replacement? Is it like, can you do that? Can you hit both safeties right away and replace those veterans and save that money? I didn't think so, but it's 3 preseason games. We can't get too excited yet. We want to see them in a regular season. But as of what I saw already and the versatility of the two guys, both guys playing free safety and strong safety, playing in the slot. Tycen Anderson, 122 total snaps in the preseason, 45 in the box, 55 at free safety, and 18 in the slot. Highlighted at least one of each of those. And he looked good doing all of that.